Hi. So ever since I was a kid, I've been reading books by Stephen Hawking, reading Discovery Magazine, Scientific America, reading theories on the internet, and it seems like the big mystery of the universe is what is the unified theory? The theory that combines everything, all the forces in the universe. Because the idea is that the universe is very simple at its core. However, the complexity we see is just different utilizations of a very simple kind of formula, right? Well, I'm no scientist, but I think I have cracked a big part of this theory. And who am I to say that? Well, I'm just some guy who reads a lot about this stuff and has read lots of theories on the internet and who has all the knowledge of the internet at his fingertips. I mean, imagine the theories that Einstein would have been able to come up with had he had the internet. All that knowledge at his fingertips. You know, it's incredible. So this is definitely one of those standing on the shoulders of giants kinds of things. But still, I think I have a pretty good theory. I've told it to lots of people. They think it's really interesting. So here it is. Basically, the idea is that the universe is completely composed of positive and negative energy. That's it. That is basically what the entire universe boils down to, positive and negative energy. Everything is just made out of positive and negative energy, period. Kind of like how when you're playing a really sophisticated video game like Crysis or Halo or something. The graphics are amazing, but you know that it's just ones and zeros. The point is that incredibly sophisticated systems can be created out of just two elements. So that this is at the core of my theory is this idea that the universe is just positive and negative energy. Okay, so it looks something like, if you were to be able to see the universe at a level this small, which you can't because light waves aren't that small, but it would look something like either like this. Everything would either look like positives and negatives, or like that, where it is one kind of little thing, pocket, with a positive and negative side. I don't really know which, but the theory is just that it is positive and negative at its core, everything. And the attractive force, when there's an attractive force, it's the attractive force between the positive and negative that is holding it together. And when some of that energy isn't being used to hold it together, it emanates outside of it, outside of the bond, kind of like a force field or a halo, or, you know, the best analogy is like a magnet. You have the positive side of the magnet, the negative side of the magnet, and they stick together, and whatever energy isn't being used to hold those two magnets together emanates outside of it in the field. So that's the same basic idea. Now here's how this idea, which is quantum mechanics, you know, it's the science of the small, how that fits into gravity, which has been the big mystery, it seems to everybody. The idea is that when you get enough of these positive and negatives, which I'm drawing right now, when you get enough of them, now imagine this ball is 100 trillion zillion bajillion googolplex little pockets of positive and negative energy. This is a planet, okay? Imagine this is Earth. I'm sorry my finger isn't going where I'm trying to make it go because I'm doing this in like a mirror, kind of, with this camera. So, but imagine this is a planet, and all the planet is like a googolplex times a googolplex, little pockets of positive and negative energy. The net of all those pockets of energy must be attractive, right? They must be. It must be in total attractive, if that makes sense. It makes sense in my head. Like I said, I'm not a scientist. But the idea is that if all these molecules weren't attractive, the planet would disperse, right? It wouldn't be held together in a big clump. A planet's just a big clump of matter. If this energy, these pockets of minute energy, these trillions of billions of gazillions of pockets, weren't attractive, the planet wouldn't stick together, but it does, so it must be attractive. Now whatever attraction, much like a magnet, whatever attraction isn't being used to hold those pockets of energy together emanates outside the planet. Emanates outside the planet like a halo or a field. You know, a field. And that is what we call gravity. And that's why gravity is the weakest force. Because much like a magnet, let's go back and pretend this is our magnet. Much like a, you know, let me draw a new one, because that doesn't look anything like a magnet. Much like our magnet, right here, these are two magnets, right? Much like our magnet, whatever energy isn't being used to hold those magnets together, it emanates outside of the magnet as a field, a force, a halo of energy. And the field is much weaker than the point of contact between the two magnets. Much like that, the force of energy surrounding a planet, aka gravity, is much weaker than the force holding together these pockets of energy, which is quantum mechanics. Right? That's the combination. I think it's a pretty damn good theory. Something you need to know of this theory is that this totally throws out the window the concept of space, of ripples in space-time and the fabric of space-time and all that stuff. I think that's garbage. Really. I know that this is Einstein's big theory and everything, but I think that Einstein didn't have the knowledge at his fingertips that people like I have. And I think that when you look at all the knowledge that's out there, I think that that theory is just garbage. And that could be totally wrong. That's why this is called a theory, right? But this theory I have here, forget space, forget this idea of the fabric of space-time, and you know, you've all seen that illustration of the planet sitting on top of a tablecloth. You know, forget all of that. All right. In my theory, the universe is much simpler. Positive and negative energy. Whatever energy isn't being utilized at the point of contact, it emanates outward in the field. That's it, the entire universe. Ask questions down below or comment, please. So that's the theory. Thanks for listening.